Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, anybody who's watching this video, I'm glad you are still safe and alive and well. I hope you guys have a great day, great night, great evening, whichever one you are currently watching this video on, or what setting you guys are watching this video on, right? So it seems that in Throne Liberty, this is like a reoccurring problem that nobody seems to address or have any type of impact on it. Of course, they did not move the developers to make this type of impact happen for co-op dungeons, but if they are going to do it, they should have done it on this patch where everything matters for the dungeons, and two-star dungeons are basically one of the things that came out during this patch. Of course, people are still leaving, and not only that, keep queue playing and not get any type of penalty. So when it comes down to something like that, they need to add something like that so things could, run smoothly and better, right? But since people are just, want me to force my guildmates to do something, I'm not forcing people to hop out of their job just to do a dungeon. That's the one thing you don't do. So anyway, so let's go ahead and let's hit this up and let me explain to you guys what is a recurring problem in Throne Liberty that nobody seems to care about, that should be cared about since, people are going to continuously keep doing it. Okay. So to give you guys a recap on the video, if you guys have remember or not, going into Throne Liberty and going to the co-op dungeon, you then get queued in with 5 other players. Of course, some players don't like a certain dungeon when they queue up for it, so they end up leaving, even though they hit the random queue button and get a random dungeon, so you get like a random reward box, basically a salvation coin that they wanted. Players getting expulsion or kicked out of the dungeon is another story that I will be talking about a little later on. Okay, so here we go. The one thing for certain is that players get kicked out of dungeons, which I'm going to be talking about first. It's the most annoying thing ever due to the fact that you get this big fat message on your screen. One player stopped playing and cried over spilled milk just to put a expulsion letter on your screen, including when, even though you press the reject button, it still went through because the majority of people say accept for no odd reason without any proof. Now, because of that, some people have to sit there and wait for players to come through. Of course, that becomes a whole issue when players are not trying to play, or they're just sitting here trolling and or playing with the queue or playing with people's time, that basically want to just finish the dungeon so they can get their loot and leave. So because of that now, this becomes a whole, cycle issue of players leaving, right? Of players getting expulsion, or like players playing with the queue. I mean, like, the queue is the first thing, but this is like a cycle at this point because it seems that they're not going to fix the issue in Throne Liberty. And, this is going to be the thing that is going to keep reoccurring as a problem, that co-op dungeons is just going to be horrible and better gear is out in the open world, making co-op dungeon a little bit obsolete and or toxic to go into by yourself without a team. Too bad me and these 3 guys have been left behind. Of course, this is like literally a second or third time this happens where players who is 3 or less, right, gets left in a dungeon by themselves and has to re-queue for maybe 3 to 5 other players for no reason, over them not want to do the dungeon, or they just want to leave just to leave because they think that they're not going to find nobody. Like, people who don't have no patience, I think they need to start adding penalties just so that we could, avoid this type of issues, okay? People trying to say that if they add penalties, it makes no sense to add them. Why not just, get a team to do it, aka your guild members? Well, what if your guild members are just PvPers and not PvEers, right? They like open world stuff, let them do open world PvP, let them do open world stuff. Leave people alone. Don't try to force other players to do something that they don't want to do. So here, I'm doing the new 2-star dungeon. Of course, it's the most annoying thing ever, that the fact that the queue stops me from playing. And of course, they're playing with the queue by clicking the reject button multiple times. This is where they need to add penalties so players like this can stop hitting the reject button. And the thing is, they keep doing it until somebody has to leave just to break us out the cycle because we can't move. It's the most annoying thing ever. And honestly, if they don't add a penalty, the people are going to keep continuously playing with the queue for little to zero odd reason, and they know they're doing it on purpose. So doubling down on what I said in my previous video, which is me telling people that, looking up the dungeons will basically make the time go down less. By time go down less, I mean less time to having issues more than actually seeing the mechanics, seeing how they do it, and not have any type of issues. And the thing is, the 2-star dungeons are out, so normally people don't have problems with the 1-star dungeon. And that's the thing, though. I'm not a sage, but the thing is, I'm gonna pretend I'm a sage since these players don't know anything about anything from this game, since apparently the matchmaking seems to not working for me. Now, the thing is, I'm not even a sage, because I would know if I'm a sage or not. But if you do not know what a sage is, I'm gonna go ahead and briefly tell you. It's like a mentor. If you know Final Fantasy 14, you know about mentors. But if you don't know anything about sages or mentors from Final Fantasy 14, I'm gonna just say this: you're helping players out in dungeons and Throne and Liberty. That's basically it. But the thing is, the requirement is like literally a long list of what to do so you can become a whole mentor, which is the most annoying thing ever. But of course, we do have players who most likely does not understand where they're going, despite the fact that we told them where to go and how to rotate. Of course, they rotate the wrong way, and they end up dying, basically causing us to wipe because we don't have a tank anyway, right? And I'm not sure why we don't have a tank in this group right here, which, by the way, should tell you that some players are either trolling or just doing it on purpose or don't know what tank really is until they have to look it up, right? When it comes down to the Throne and Liberty, yes, sadly, you have to look things up. Yes, this is where you have to look up tips and tricks, because if you don't look up tips and tricks, you're going to look lost. This is the type of game that would not teach you about anything about tanking. This game would not teach you about anything of DPS or healer. They would basically just straight up tell you that, this is the type of thing that you have to know the moment that you come in. And it sucks bad, but the thing is, you could basically freestyle play this game, but the thing is, you have to still research something, and I know you guys still research something because you still have that type of energy to do it. By energy, I mean motivation to do it, just to see, like what it's like or what it is, okay? So, we're coming down to other players rocking whatever weapons they want to rock. That's fine and all, but just notice that it's not going to be best in slot. By best in slot, I mean you're playing with odd weapon choices, odd weapon combinations that probably will not work for you because of the fact that you're going to have certain problems, certain issues that other players won't see but you, okay? Including when you say that you're a tank but you have a great sword, you're supposed to be grabbing aggro, but the thing is, if you're not grabbing aggro, then you're just watching the team die for no odd reason. Including when the boss turns around and spits at me for little to no odd reason. That means that there's no tank. That means that we have a lot of issues of tanking. And if you don't know how to tank, then that's basically what it is. Which is why it's good to research something if you do not know and use it as a reference of who you're using and what their name is and how you could basically ask the questions. Of course, some players refuse to do that, and they just want to play the game blind, which is on their part. It's on their issue, because you know why? Because when players get angry at them, that's basically on them, right? This is all on them, not me. I technically told people that, I went through these similar issues with some players who refuse to look up certain things. They just go out and buy something knowing that they probably either like or not like it, right? Looking at reviews, let's be honest, looking at gameplay will probably help you out more than looking at the reviews, because reviews doesn't give you any insight of what you really see, what they really explain it to you, right? Sometimes it did tell you and you probably did fell for it, but at the same time, it's like some people are not informative enough, right? Or have enough details to support those type of issues that they have with the game or place that they're critiquing. Okay, so this is one of them, which is basically nobody's critiquing this game, how they're supposed to critique it. Okay, but that's enough about researching in Throne Liberty. You don't want to take anybody gear in Guild War if you don't know what you're doing. It's important for you to know what you're doing before, trial and erroring things and taking a long avenue back to where you were. All right, so that's why it's important for you as a Throne Liberty player to do your research. But let's talk about this clip right here. Now, this clip right here is basically what I'm going to be talking about right now, right? This clip is the critical clip that you guys want me to do, which is basically just teach them. Some people tell me, just teach them, just teach them. What is the problem? Just open up your mouth and say, do you need help? Now, this is why I don't like players like this who basically, or people like this who actually just want me to open my mouth and say teach. So guess what? I'm going to do exactly what you did. That exactly what you told me. First things first, it's coming with tough love. We got no tank, and they're going to get yelled at and cussed out like before, right? So that's why we tend to straight up tell them like, hey, we got no tank, we got nothing. That means that we're going to have a problem, right? So now, since we got nothing at all, and no knowledge of the mechanics, do anybody need help? This is where we had to structure. This is where we had to regroup and start talking about the mechanics that we supposed to be, getting into. But the thing is, I get players who want to straight up kick me out just because, quote unquote, I wasn't helpful, or for some odd reason, they don't want to be teached and they don't know nothing and they want to keep blind pulling for no odd reason. So that's fine. They don't know anything about, knowing the mechanics or anything like that. Good luck. Have fun. Right? And I know some of y'all in the comment section are going to be like, but you was doing this, you was saying that, you was being rude. First of all, don't start. I promise you would see the evil end. Do not start. Because if I have to respond back to you in the comment section, you're in trouble. And I promise you, it's not really going to be fun. All right? These other type of players, you're not supposed to make them run around and do stuff like that. What? You telling me that this person killed as a tank, but playing a DPS? Do you not realize that is detrimental to the team? Do you not realize how critical that is for the team? Including when there's one healer inside the dungeon. One healer. Why in the hell are you going to tell me that, you was being critical to them? First of all, why the hell are they playing DPS? Why the hell there's no tank? Why the hell there's no sword and shield with a wand? Why are he playing a great sword with a wand? That is not a tank. And the thing is, you guys are going to be like, but don't butt me. I promise you, do not butt me. Do not make any type of excuses with these people. You guys always do that every single time. And honestly, please, in the love of Jesus, find another excuse. Because if you have any excuse of making them feel like they still somewhat in the right, please let me know. Because I want to really hear it. I really do. Because if you just basically making excuses for other people, for them to go around and do something like that, like say that they are DPS, but they are healer, but say that they are healer, but they are DPS, right? It's like, brother, play the role that you sign up for. Don't sit there and play other roles that you didn't sign up for. Like, what? Anyway, that's besides the point. My brain hurt. But at the same time, it's like, this is what happens when nobody is fixing the dungeon problem. I think they need to start adding icons of who signed up for what, right? So we can know who's the tank, who's the healer, who's the DPS. Because if they don't, then it's a problem. But anyways, have a great day, have a great night, have a great evening, have a great everything. Be safe, because this year and next year are going to be crazy. And, Christmas is coming by, and you don't want to be catching out. You don't want to be catch out there. So Later, y'all. Mwah.